Get back into court. I want to bring in my guest for this hour. Joining us, criminal defense attorney Silva Megerditchian. Silva, great to see you as always. And I wanted to check with you about this particular witness. Again, this is one of those nuts and bolts witnesses. Again, can't get around it. I'm not 100% sure what the dog will end up finding, but certainly there were bodies, there was blood on the scene, and that's what that dog was trained to find.
Absolutely, Michael. Thank you so much for having me, my friend, my brilliant, brilliant friend with the best analysis. Look, Michael, it's essential, right? The prosecutors, they have to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt, and they have to connect all the dots. And honestly, Michael, from my almost 19 years experience, jurors love dogs. They love the canines. They really do actually eat up the testimony because there is a sense of legitimacy. You know, literally, the dog is just a neutral party who's doing its job. They're not perfect, but they're pretty close to perfect, especially cadaver dogs. So I think it sets up the scene of the grisly scene of where exactly the bodies were found, how the dog alerted how they found these corpses in the first place, and also to make sure that the scene wasn't tainted either by the dog or the detective. So it's necessary, it's a little thick, but I love hearing about how smart these animals are, and I think the juries do too.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I just love the way he said when they come across something, he was explaining the different things that the dogs do. And he said, look, they have to do it. It's like innate. They can't lie in terms of what they find. I just thought that was fantastic. I want to talk a little bit about the defense. The defense here, and I'm sure you've been in this position as a defense attorney, they're going with the somebody else did it defense. And they sort of dropped a nugget with the previous witness that this brother, Corey, who they're pointing the finger at, used to live in the home with Keith. What are some of the challenges that you face as a defense attorney when you're faced with that defense?
Oh, Michael, it's so hard. I think the biggest thing and the biggest hurdle in this case is the motive. I mean, there's no doubt that Paul, you know, the microscope was on him for the money stealing from the business. So it's really hard for the defense to concoct something around such a strong motive. And also, they have to kind of, they have to make more of a story, not just that, hey, he didn't do it, the other brother did it, but why? What is that motive, and can that motive be more important or more dire than Paul's motive? So it's really difficult. Again, Michael, studies have shown, jury studies have shown that jurors really do like, if it's not your client, it needs to be someone else, right? So defense, we all deal with that. We have to point the finger at someone else the best we can.
Yeah, trials are about placing blame. I've always heard that, and it's absolutely true. They want somebody to blame. All right, Silva, stand by. I want to head back into court now. Still on the stand, that's Sergeant with the New Jersey State Police Canine Unit, still on direct examination by the state.
With Creed in particular, can the odor be enough, like just odor as opposed to something physical like blood or some sort of stain? Or
yes, we call it transfer odor.
Okay. Now, based upon Creed's actions and physiological changes in the driveway of 27 Tilton, did you relay those observations or what they meant to you to the other detectives that were there?
Yep.
Now, was there a point in time that you decided to deploy Creed to a different part of the property outside?
At the conclusion of the vehicle?
Yes.
Yeah, once we finished with the vehicle, we proceeded to the rear yard of the property. I then awfully searched the backyard, shed, and back deck area. The goal being I wanted to finish the exterior of the property before I moved inside.
Were there any physiological changes that you observed from Creed in the rear yard of the property?
Nothing outside, no further negative.
Now, at that point in time, did you proceed to enter the actual structure inside of 27 Tilton?
Yes, sir. We proceeded to the front door of the residence where I was going to start my search of the interior.
Okay. Now, searching a house like that, is that something that you would do, you and Creed would do the same way every time, or does it depend on a variety of factors?
The environment dictates the layout of the house, damage in this case. But I do it systematically floor by floor. I'll search a room the same way, but in the order that I do it, based on also debris and change. But each particular floor, no, it doesn't necessarily have to be the same. I come up with a plan where I ensure that I get adequate coverage of everything inside and out.
Okay, you referenced damage, correct?
Yes, sir.
Was there damage that, even before you went in, that you were made aware of?
I obviously knew it was a fire scene, which changes things a little bit because obviously safety for the dog. In this instance, my goal was I'm going to do everything that was easier for him to traverse and then end where the damaged area.
Had Creed ever been deployed in a home that had suffered fire damage?
Absolutely, yes.
Now, can you just tell us generally, or specifically how, excuse me, how you deployed Creed at 27 Tilden interior?
Yep, so first thing I did was go to the front door. Prior to even starting, I observed what appeared to be what appeared to be a blood smear on the wood trim below the front door. I noted that to crime scene, let them do their thing. Once we proceeded, I then deployed Creed for an off-lead search of the interior of the residence. Again, preferably off-lead, just because it allowed him to work on his own, unimpeded by me holding him up with a lead. We did the first floor. I just assisted detailing him. What I mean by detailing is I let the dog go in, do a search. If I feel like there's somewhere he didn't get to, I will go in and actually detail, just direct him to areas. I do this to ensure adequate coverage that he didn't miss anything within a particular room and or building. We did the first floor. Then we proceeded to the second floor. I ended up doing all the bedrooms and the bathrooms. I made a note that the master bedroom and bathroom sustained minor damage resulting from the fire. Completed the search of the second floor without any changes in behavior. Then I proceeded back down the first floor to end at the basement.
Okay, so do you recall how you actually, entered and deployed Creed into the basement?
Yes.
How was that?
Stopped at the top of the basement steps. Obviously knew that there was debris down there just from what I could see. At the top of the steps, set him down off lead on the steps. Reason being, let him go down, do his thing. I can kind of watch, and then I followed him down once he got started.
Okay. Now, do you recall where Creed went upon kind of getting to the bottom of the basement stairs and into the basement?
Yep. Yes, sir. Immediately began searching the rubble in the southeast corner of the basement, which is the heaviest damaged area. He went through on his own first.
Okay. And did you follow him there?
Yeah, yes, sir. I could see him from where I was at, and then I proceeded to him, yes.
Okay. And what, if any, observations did you see within Creed's behavior?
Again, I noted in my report it was what was perceived to be the origin of the fire. He immediately began behavioral changes indicating the presence of human remains. And I'll repeat them for you guys. It was the breathing change, open to closed mouth, rapid and shallow breaths, while there was rapidly bracketing the pile. What I mean by bracketing, when a canine gets an odor, they will work it. And a bracketing, like if the wind was blowing in my face here and your odor was coming from that wall, the dog is going to get to the edge of the odor cone, go back to the other edge of the cone, and they're going to keep bracketing back and forth until they get the source. And you should see that get smaller and smaller. He was bracketing the pile of debris. When they're trained to get to source, and you have if there was odor under my hat, you might see a dog kind of circle it. And they're trying to find other avenues in to get all the way to that source. That's another form of bracketing. He did that on the debris. He then buried his head into the debris, pulled it out, and began scratching at the pile. His final trained alert, as I said to you guys earlier, is a scratch. That was indicating to me that he has got as close as he could get to source or was on source of that odor. At that final alert, that's his final alert to source of human remains. As a result, me and Detective Catalona started sifting through the debris where he alerting. It was a mess, fire debris mess. It was kind of all melted together, fire debris, if you can imagine, and the water has kind of frozen. You would keep describing that, sir, before I go?
No, I just want to show you what's been marked as S1. It's A. Slide 111. Just show you. Slide 111. Do you
Yes, sir.
recognize what that depicts?
Yes, sir, basement.
Okay. Is that the area that Creed ultimately detected the presence of human remains? Is that depicted in that photograph?
Yes, sir. So specifically remember all the feathers and from the pillow or whatever that had been.
I just published slide 111. The photo that's on the screen, is that the photo I just showed you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And again, could you there's a little pen up there, a stylus. Should be in front of you.
Okay.
Could you just kind of circle the area based upon your observations of where Creed was ultimately showing those signs of interest?
Yes, sir. I just touched the screen.
Yes, you can.
Sorry, I'm a dog guy. I just know it's just generalized.
Just love hearing about that dog. All right, we'll take a break. We'll have more testimony from inside that courtroom, so keep it here on your front row seat to justice.
The evidence will show that Jesse and Sophia were still alive and breathing after their uncle repeatedly stabbed them. Still alive and breathing after their uncle set fire to their home and left them. Still alive and breathing as the smoke began to rise from the basement. And that, you will learn, is how those two children spent the final moments of their lives.
Yeah, you just saw that. That was 8-year-old Sophia and 11-year-old Jesse. Really the unthinkable part of this whole case. But let me take you back now to New Jersey for more testimony in the Mansion murders trial for defendant Paul Caneiro. Caneiro is facing multiple charges, including 4 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths of his brother Keith and his brother's family, including those 2 beautiful little kids. Still on the stand, a sergeant with the New Jersey State Police Canine Unit is going over how a cadaver dog was used to locate human remains at the crime scene. He's still on direct.
But I remember the defendant specifically. He was bracketing this whole pile. You can continue.
Yeah, I mean, if you'd like further explain, that's fine.
At that point, I noted it to the crime scene detective. We started sifting through, and ultimately what he was alerted, we found a piece of a plastic container. Again, it was all melted together from the heat and frozen with the water from the firefighters putting the fire out. The plastic container, we observed a piece of plastic with a blanket and clothing within the burned rubble, which had melted and frozen together in the fire. It was determined the clothing appeared to be jeans with possible blood stains on it. Detective Callahan photographed and documented the area. I directed Creed to search the remainder of the basement. He completed the remainder of it without any further changes in behavior. Can we keep going?
No, I think after the dog had indicated to that area, was there a point in time where the pile of debris was actually taken by Detective Catalone, I believe, somewhere else?
Yes, sir. I went back upstairs to the first floor with Creed. The only thing we had left was the garage. We completed that search of the residence. That way it was completely done. Search of the garage was completed without any changes in behavior. When I say without any change in behavior, so you guys understand, the behavior change like I described is what I'm watching. So when the dog doesn't respond at all, it tells me there's no odor available for him to smell in that particular area. We move on from that area. So we finished the garage. Detective Catalona and Trooper Kyle, who was there assisting me, they moved the pile of frozen and the debris in which he had earlier alerted into the garage where it could be analyzed further. There's 2 reasons. 1, to analyze it further. 2, I wanted to bring Creed back down to the basement after we had that known odor, removed it to see if he would find anything else.
And did you do that?
Yes, sir.
What happened when you brought him down to the basement?
I'm sorry?
What happened once you brought him back down to the basement?
I brought Creed back to we did the garage. I brought Creed back in the garage, released him for another off-lead search. Creed began searching the garage, clearing exterior walls. Again, we brought that known in. I did the entire room again. He did the walls, brought him back over to, after clearing the exterior walls, he approached the debris on the floor again and provided the same physiological alert as he did when he was downstairs. So at that time, pulled him off, got the same alert as I got before. In order to ensure that nothing of evidentiary value was missed, or we removed debris, I brought Creed back in the basement and same was searched a second time. He provided the same physiological alert, the same area of the basement that I have circled here. He was secured in my assigned troop car, and crime team started doing their thing, analyzing the clothing further. In the basement, didn't surprise me, alerted again. So odor travels, especially at a fire scene like this. Odor will travel with water. It's melted, so that whole area may smell like odor. He's going to alert to it again. It didn't surprise me at all. At that time, crime scene decided they took over to see if there's anything else and any further evidence.
Now, what you just described about the actions at 27 Tilden, did that ultimately culminate after taking him back down to the basement?
I
Was
understand.
that, I'm sorry, once you took Creed back
Yes, sir.
down to the basement, was he done?
Oh, yes, at that specific address?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now, I think just for purposes of understanding,
We're going to mark this as S1A, slide 111.1.
Your Honor, at this time, I have no further questions for the trooper.
Good afternoon, sir.
How you doing, sir?
So I thank you for sending Creed's resume. It looks like Creed is actually very good at locating human remains.
That's right.
Or I just would be retired now. And I noticed that there were several instances you mentioned in the resume where Creed had alerted during the searches of vehicles. And that specifically, on May 11th of 2018, Creed alerted to the floor mat of a vehicle that he was searching, and that area was later confirmed to contain trace amounts of human blood.
What was that date, sir?
That was May 11th, 2018.
You're referencing the Newark Police Department investigating.
I am, yes.
Okay.
So it looks like that was an event that you referenced in the resume where Creed alerts to the floor mat of part of the carpet area of the driver's seat.
Yes, sir.
And then it's determined that Creed was actually right to look to that location because trace amounts of human blood were located there.
Yes, sir.
And then in March 20th of 2017, you were involved with the Missing Persons Unit and the Atlanta County Prosecutor's Office, it looks like. And once again, there was a vehicle search that Creed participated in, right?
Yes, sir.
And again, Creed alerted to a section of the vehicle's interior floor area, and it was determined that Creed was right again in the sense that there was the presence of blood determined to be in that location as well.
Yes,
right? Now, obviously, you testified that there doesn't have to be blood for Creed to have alerted at scenes, and that the odor of the whatever it is that he's smelling can be enough. It doesn't have to be actual biological material, right?
It could be transfer odors. I'm guessing what you're asking.
Maybe. I guess what I'm saying is it doesn't have to be actual biological material on a location for Creed to alert, right?
Well, it doesn't mean that there's not biological material there just because you can't see it.
Sure. I think that the last two things we talked about are a great example of that, right? Because in both of those situations, Creed alerted in a vehicle, right?
Yes, sir.
And then it was later confirmed that the area where Creed alerted actually contained human blood, right?
Yes, sir.
And now, when we say it was later confirmed, obviously that's not really your role in an investigation. Creed alerts, other forensic law enforcement personnel come in afterwards, right?
Yes.
And they say, okay, Creed alerted here, we're gonna look here, and we're gonna see what we can find based on that alert, right?
Correct. It's a locating tool.
Right.
Canine is a locating tool.
Now, Creed, it sounds like, was trained to do this by some kind of conditioning, essentially, such that he gets or got a actual physiological response that he interpreted as positive when he smelled human remains. Do I have that right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more to training, but yes, underlyingly, yes, he's rewarded for following the proper route. Correct.
Okay. So it's like, it's not as if we would imagine Creed sometimes would smell human remains and just not signal to you. Your understanding of the way Creed worked is that any time he smelled human remains, he would signal or express interest.
Correct. Which was a response he can't control.
Right, so the defense actually singing the praises of Creed, that cadaver dog. We'll see where he's going with it when we come back. We'll take a break. We'll have more testimony in the murder trial against Paul Caneiro next. Keep it here on Court TV.
Tragic murder of Keith Caneiro and his entire family.
This one is the most brutal case that I've seen in my experience here.
The Mansion Murders Trial. Live coverage today on Court TV.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, a Georgia teen seeking bond as she stands accused of killing her mother and stepfather. We'll unpack arguments from today's big hearing as our experts weigh in.
Closing Arguments tonight at 8, 7 Central, only on Court TV.
All right, folks, let's head back to New Jersey now for more testimony in the Mansion Murders trial for Paul Caneiro. Prosecutors say that Caneiro shot and killed his brother and sister-in-law, and then he stabbed his niece and nephew to death before burning down their mansion. Investigators point to a family business dispute as possible motives for this murder. Or the murders was still on the stand as a cadaver dog handler with the New Jersey State Police. Here he's on cross by the defense.
Now, Creed goes to 27 Tilton with you. You search the entire first floor of 27 Tilton, right?
That's correct.
Creed doesn't alert anywhere on the first floor, right?
Correct.
He's taken everywhere that was available for him to go by yourself, right?
Yes, sir.
He went into the bathroom, correct?
Yes, sir.
Creed actually has been able to determine the odor of human remains coming from underwater, right? So Creed, also in your resume, it looked like Creed was taken to a location where he found a body that was 6 feet under the water.
Correct.
And I mean...
That's gases that come off of a body.
Okay, sure. And that's... But obviously, those gases have to come up through the water, make their way to the surface, come out into the atmosphere essentially, and then he's able to smell them, right?
Correct.
Now, when you're in a bathroom, right? Sometimes you know that there are, obviously we have running water, right? We have drains and toilets and things like that, right? In your experience, I would imagine you have training or actual on-the-job experience of people trying to secret items of evidentiary importance by either flushing them down the toilet or washing them down the sink, right? Mm-hmm. Is that yes?
Yes, sir.
Obviously, Creed, because he can smell human remains coming up from water, we imagine he'd be able to smell human remains if they were, say, in part of the catch of a drain of a sink, right?
Yes, it's possible.
But Creed didn't alert in the bathroom on the first floor of 27 Tilton, did he?
No.
And Creed was taken to the second floor of 27 Tilton as well, right?
That's correct.
And Creed doesn't alert anywhere there either.
That's correct.
And we know that Creed was taken by yourself to all of the available, rooms on the second floor, right?
Correct.
And that included bathrooms.
Correct.
And it included bedrooms.
That's correct.
And it included every bedroom on the second floor, right?
Yes.
Okay. The term that you had used was, I believe, bracketing for Creed's...
It's one of his physiological signs, yes.
And that's actually where he's physically interacting with an item, or?
No. As I explained before, bracketing is when a dog hits the edge of an odor cone, left and right. Or example, like I said, if it was under my hat
and he was trying to get the source, he could circle all the way around it. That's also a form of bracketing. They're trained to go to the source of the odor when they get the odor.
Gotcha.
Odor has to be available for them to smell. So once they're in odor, that's when you're going to see that bracketing.
Okay. In this case, he actually was, when he was in the basement, in the area of the fire, and we saw that debris pile in S1 on slide 111 that you looked at just now, right? He actually, you were watching his behavior change, right?
Correct.
You're watching him, he's no longer, his mouth is no longer open, it's closed. He's breathing through his nose, right?
Correct.
He is bracketing around this area of debris, right? And he's actually putting his nose into that area of debris, right?
Yes.
Okay. You and Officer Catalona are looking at that debris pile, and it appears to you to be just it's a highly disorganized, disordered pile of textiles and various objects, right?
Oh, it's a fire scene.
Right. But you have to take that pile and actually bring it upstairs.
Yeah, pile being the items that he put his nose on.
Right.
And gave a final response to.
Right.
Yes.
And do you remember what you used to carry those items?
That's a crime scene question. I was just there working the dog.
Okay. All right, so do you recall whether Detective Catalona took like a plastic tub from the basement and put those items in it to take it upstairs?
Again, I'm not crime scene, sir. I just worked the canines. I don't know how they moved.
I'm just asking if you were there, if you recall.
I don't recall that.
Okay.
Again, not my job.
And obviously, you know, in terms of what is and isn't the dividing line of your job, when Creed alerts, that's obviously an area of interest, but that from that point on, it would go to other forensic personnel, right?
Yes, sir. I viewed it. I tried to observe what he's alerting to, but at the end of the day, the dog's a locating tool.
Sure.
I said, hey, he located this. He's alerting to this here. And I turn that over to crime scene for them to determine. I'm not a crime scene specialist. I'm a canine handler.
No, I understand, and I think that makes perfect sense, because obviously you can't say that just because Creed alerts, there's going to be DNA in a certain location, right?
I can tell you he provided an alert to the odor he was trained on, and I turned it over to crime scene professionals to take it from there.
Right, because you can't say whether there's DNA there, right? That's someone else's job.
Yeah, it's not my job.
And it's not your job to say whether there's blood there, right?
Again, I have advised the dog alerted to what I believe to be the presence of human remains, and I turned it over to crime scene.
Sure. So I think that's fairly self-explanatory. We need other people to make these confirmation assessments after the fact, right?
I'm not sure what you're asking me. What do you want to say, that I'm not a crime scene guy?
No.
I'm confused what you're asking me.
No. I'm just trying to say that you're what you are not is a DNA analyst, right?
Yeah, yes, sir, if you want to say it. I'm a canine handler specializing in recognizing my dog's canine behavior.
Yeah. I think I'm trying to have that conversation with you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I have no further questions.
Judge, I don't have any further questions.
You step down, sir. Thank you.
Hey, sir.
All right, so make no mistake, he's just the dog handler. All right, still with us, criminal defense attorney Silva Megerditchian. So what did you make of that cross-examination and where the attorney was going? First, he praises Creed. You know, Creed can do all this, he can do all that, he's amazing. But he didn't find it in the sink, which I think I probably know where he's going with that. And then also he started questioning some of the chain of custody. Didn't get too far with that.
You know, Michael, this is where we are trained, you know, as a public defender in LA. I will never forget my boss. The best advice he gave is don't ask too many questions. Make your points and sit down. He made his points. Sit down. You know, the sergeant was saying, look, I don't do that. That's enough. There are no jokes. The jury's tired. The evidence is thick. Sit down. The fact that you already gave a little bit of nuggets towards your defense is absolutely enough for your case. So yeah, he took it too far, and we're all tired. We don't need to hear a bunch of superfluous questioning that goes nowhere.
Yeah, and again, part of their defense is that it was a shoddy investigation. So I think that's kind of where he was going. Yeah, to know that that was going to be the answer, that he's not the guy who handles that evidence. But the other part is what I want to get your thought on. My thinking is, if he's saying there's nothing in the sinks to say this guy washed anything off or anything, there's video of him maybe at a later point where you don't see any blood on him. That's what I'm thinking. And they're saying, well, look, we already know the dog didn't alert, so he didn't wash it off. Where's all this blood since it's all over the scene?
Absolutely. And that is a wonderful evidentiary argument that's going to be used in the closing argument. The defense doesn't have a lot. So whatever nugget they can get as to reasonable doubt and the fact that this doesn't make sense. How could my client be covered in blood and there's just no blood evidence discovered? That's going to be incredibly something, again, it's always these small evidentiary issues that stick in the mind of the juries when they go in the back and decide the case.
You're absolutely right. And again, you got to hang on to any little nugget that you can find in cases like this. All right, Silva. Thank you so much, as always, for being with me. Always a pleasure to get your insights. Truly appreciate it. Folks, I want you to stick around because coming up, we're going to turn our attention to Utah for key testimony in the family murder plot trial of Kevin Ellis. Plus, our own Kelly Clapp is going to join us live from Virginia for an update on the au pair affair murder trial against Brendan Banfield. So don't go anywhere. More right after this short break.